I don't think bankruptcy would be a problem for an ATM maker who charges Canadian bank fees. That would probably not happen. Thank you for your great work, Mark. Dr. Kadri, you're Prime Minister of this room. If we had a mission statement for our session right now, it would probably be wrap everything up in the next 55 minutes and let's go have lunch. But maybe not that inspirational. We got everybody here? Kevin, good. So we have an exceptional panel for you consisting of 3 pharmaceutical company executives and 1 lawyer. It may not be that exceptional if you recall Andrew's comments this morning, and you also happen to be a trial judge in the US. But their impressive bios are there in your conference binder. Please have a look at them. They are Wendy Adams of Galderma, Richard Feisel of Pfizer, Eileen McMahon from the prominent legal firm of Torys LLC, and we welcome back a familiar face, Celgene's Kevin Lashuk. They're going to present in that order, and they'll hand off to each other pro wrestling tag team style. So it seems a lot has happened. Where's the clicker? Clicker's here. Okay. Yeah, it seems a lot has happened in the past year since we were last here. Among those things, Apple became the most highly capitalized company in the history of the world. Facebook moved towards its IPO, and it's going to supposedly go out at $100 billion. Social networking brought down the governments of Egypt, Libya, Yemen, possibly Syria, possibly Bahrain, constituting a kind of pattern of disruptive developments that have been sparked by technology. Meanwhile, in healthcare, nothing disruptive, okay? I mean, we can be charitable and say that. We're still waiting for something to shake up healthcare. And I guess the one thing that Mark did happen to mention was the revisions to the PAB code. Not quite the groundbreaking developments that we're seeing in other sectors. But it gives me the opportunity to ask a question. Maybe it's a provocative question. So you can agree or disagree the response of the healthcare system to a world that demands simplicity, democracy, and transparency has been to make things more complicated, hierarchical, and rule-driven. So agree or disagree. Okay, well, it's agreement, I would say. I'm going to the next slide. Okay, I mean, ironically, many of us used our iPads to read about many of these cascading complexities. And I say ironically because in the iPad you have a product that's so intuitive, so clever in its design that it ships without any kind of documentation whatsoever. So you really need to pause and think about that from the perspective of the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, how is that possible? But what they've done is created something that is just that intuitive, just that personalized. You know, consider also at the same time that Apple will personalize every iPad that they ship. They'll engrave your name on it, manage to get it from China delivered to your house. And again, if you've been following the news about some mislabeled drugs that happen to come out of a big generic company in Quebec, you know, I'm afraid we can't say the same thing about everything we do all the time. So our panel is, yeah, I've just got this comparison screen that I'll leave up for a minute. Obviously, you can't make direct comparisons between an IT company and a life sciences company, but what the hell, let's do it anyway. You know, I think there are some things that might really be applicable and might get our minds thinking. Our panel is going to touch on some interesting, innovative, and potentially disruptive elements of healthcare. But if we can double back to that point Mark made about the PAB code revisions, I'd like to show you a very brief training film that was produced.
Can is whether you're capable of doing something. May is asking for permission. Yes, Michael?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Michael, do you want to repeat that question?
Oh no, I'm going to be made an example.
Michael?
I said, can I go to the bathroom?
You can, but you may not.
Well, can I or can't I?
I don't think you've been paying attention to this lesson, have you, Michael K?
Well, yes, I have.
So how would you rephrase the question?
Can I please go to the bathroom?
Children, Michael K., why don't you just spend some time in the hallway until you've learned the difference between can and may? When you've learned the difference, then you may come back in.
I have to go to the bathroom, but I'm afraid to ask.
Now, does anyone know the difference between can and may? Well, young man, have you learned the difference between may and can?
Not yet.
Well, you stay out there until you've learned the difference.
Yes, Mrs. Parks.
Well, I think Ray was a pretty good sport to agree to appear in that film, and didn't think he looked too bad in the dress either. Okay. Well, I guess if I have a point to all this, it's simply that pharma seems to be doing everything that the IT business is doing backwards, and sometimes that's out of necessity. Sometimes it's just because, I guess, it's a traditional industry and there's some inertia involved. So with that, I'll introduce our first panelist, Wendy Adams from Galderma.